Right, I think I'm in shot. What is up, everybody? I thought I'd do a little bit different video today to help people out who are maybe thinking about applying to Liverpool Uni or are starting at Liverpool in September, or who are currently at Liverpool. I don't know. I thought I would do like a kind of everything you need to know about the University of Liverpool, because I'm in my final year. Well, I've basically finished now with the whole coronavirus. I've done my 3 years at Liverpool. The best 3 years of my life, can I just say, just sliding that in there. I consider myself a suitable applicant to pass on my 3 years of knowledge to you guys. Just a quick disclaimer, this is obviously, I'm just one student who stayed in one accommodation, who studied one course in the city, so like, I can't speak on behalf of everyone. This is just my personal opinion of everything. I'm going to put the timestamps here. I feel like this video could be long, so if you've just come to find out about accommodation or freshers or something, you can just go straight to the bit you want to go to. So I chose to go to Liverpool. I'd looked around a lot of other unis before I actually eventually went to Liverpool. My dad kind of suggested it on a bit of a whim. I looked around a few unis already and I kind of just wasn't really feeling it, and I was kind of thinking maybe I just don't want to go to uni, maybe that's why I'm not getting excited. And then I remember when I went to Liverpool and I was just like, oh my god, like this is the uni for me. Like I just fell in love with it when I was looking around. One of my favourite things about Liverpool Uni that I will stand by to this day is the fact that it's a campus in a city. I think it's so rare to get that. Like the location of the uni is in the city centre. It's literally a 5-minute walk. It's so central, but it's not like a city campus where there's buildings randomly around the city. There is an actual campus with green space, and there's the guild, and it's just where everything is in one place. That's my favourite thing, being able to be in the city but still having that campus. Like I fell in love with that and I loved it so much. Another reason I chose Liverpool, I love the course. I think that's a really important thing when you're looking around uni. I'm not going to talk that much about my course because likelihood is you're not going to study geography. If you are, great course, loved it. But I just like the way that for the physical geography course I was doing, there was a lot of flexibility to kind of dip in and out of human geography as well, like, and you could kind of choose the direction you wanted your course to go. Yeah, so the entry requirements I think for a lot of courses at Liverpool are ABB. That could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure most entry requirements are ABB. I actually got BBC, so if you're thinking of applying to Liverpool and you're like, oh, I think I'm probably going to get B or Bs, I'm not quite going to get the entry requirements, I would still say apply, because you never know. Like it's so dependent on how many people are applying that year and stuff. I was so lucky to get in, to be honest. I didn't think I was going to get in, I'm not going to lie. So when I got the offer, I was absolutely over the moon because it was completely unexpected. So I'm going to start where you will start, Freshers Week. During my Freshers Week there was a wristband, and because like you're a fresher, you don't really know what's going on, let's be honest. Like I had in my mind that, oh my god, if I don't buy this wristband it's the end of the world. Like I'm never going to make friends, I'm not going to be able to do anything. That is literally the biggest lie ever. The wristband, the one I got, hugely overpriced in my opinion. Like I think it was like £40–50 for like 3 or 4 events. You didn't need it. I didn't end up going to like all of the events, so I didn't really get my money's worth anyway. With Liverpool, because of the way the city's laid out, there's Concert Square where there's like a lot of the clubs are at Concert Square all in one area. There's not really an official wristband because everyone in Freshers Week just goes to Concert Square, and you don't need a wristband to get into Concert Square. So I would say you don't need to buy a wristband. Like don't feel pressured to spend a lot of money on this wristband which you don't really need. To be honest, I don't know if there's a wristband anymore. Like it wasn't really an official Freshers wristband, it wasn't anything associated with the guild. In Freshers Week on my course for geography I had like introductory lectures and they did a tour of the city and stuff, and whilst it can feel like it's a complete waste of your time, all these like freshers introductory stuff, like there's a lot of people that don't go to them. That's your choice, granted. I would say there's such a good thing to go to. I know that when I went on the introductory walk around the city, that is where I met like my closest friends on my course that day. So I mean, I'm not saying if you don't go, or like let's say you're ill or so for some reason you can't go, you're not going to make friends, because like that's not true. But like it's such a good way to meet people, because that is the time where everyone's going and no one knows anyone. Make sure during Freshers Week definitely go to the Freshers Fairs. I think they're normally on for 2 days. I think it's normally like Thursday, Friday of Freshers Week. They're like super good for like signing up to societies. And if you don't want to sign up to a society, just go for the free stuff. There's so much free food, free pens. You get a nice little wall calendar. It sets you up for life. It's great. I would like fully encourage you to sign up to society. Something you maybe did at school or something completely new. Such a good way to meet like-minded people. Not everyone is lucky enough to get on with their flat, and so joining a society is such a good way to make friendships outside of your flat. And also have a reason to get out of the flat. I think it's very easy to isolate yourself when you first move to a new city that you might not know, so you can easily just like hide away in your little cove of your room. Whereas like having societies, having events, it's just a great way to meet loads of new people, get out of your flat, try something new. You never know. I tried lacrosse in the second year. It wasn't for me. I tried it for like the first semester. Not my cup of tea, but it was fun while I tried it, and I'm glad I did try it, because always better to try and not like it than to never know. And then in the second semester of second year, I actually joined the Mountaineering Society properly. I went on trips to go to the climbing wall every week, and I loved it. And I think when you find your society, you can kind of know, like, because I think the best thing about a society is because it's normally with people that are like you and like-minded people, so you just kind of get on with everyone, and that's when you when you know you've found your clan. But yeah, definitely try societies. They're so good. The teaching style. So for my course, obviously, like I said, every course is different, but I think it's pretty much most teaching is from lectures. You also have lab sessions, so because I was doing a Bachelor of Science, I had quite a lot of lab sessions in the labs. That Liverpool have amazing lab facilities. The new Central Teaching Hub, brand new lab facilities, and they have so much cool stuff you can do there. I don't know the ins and outs of it all. So I had a lot of lab sessions. I also had a lot of field trip sessions. So for the first 2 years of my course, the field trips were completely cut. The cost was completely covered. I didn't have to spend a penny to get there. So I went to places like Spain for a week. I went to the Lake District for a week, Wales for a weekend. That was all covered in the cost. My third year field trip, which I didn't end up going on because of the coronavirus, so we're not going to talk about that. You have to pay for yourself because they're kind of bigger field trips. So I was going to California, there's Toronto, Iceland, the Algarve, Barcelona. So there's kind of varying price levels to cover people's different financial situations. Also, because the cost isn't covered, it's not a compulsory module, so you don't have to do a field trip in third year. So anyway, lectures, labs, field trips. Seminars are another one, so that's kind of a smaller class. The seminars for geography, there was normally about 20-30 people in there, and that's kind of where you get more one-on-one interactions with your lecturer who's running the seminar. And then you also have, what are they called? Tutorials. So that's like a group of 6 to 8 of you, and that's just with your academic advisor, and you went through stuff like course specific stuff, so forming a dissertation, talking about if you have any like problems with the course, to kind of more general employability stuff where we created our CVs and had fake job interviews. Your academic advisor will be someone, a lecturer from your course, but not everything you do in a tutorial is course based. It's also well-being and employability and all the other stuff that is very important in life. So you always have that interaction with a lecturer, even though the majority of your learning is in a lecture theatre where you're one of 200 students. I think a lot of lecturers have like open door policy where you can just go to their office and ask them questions if you're stuck. You can always email lecturers. I am going to be very honest, some lecturers are very good at replying to emails. I have found in my experience a lot of them, most of them, are terrible at replying to emails. Honestly, in those situations, you just have to go, rock up to their office, knock on their door and bug them and wait for them until they respond, because I think with Russell Group unis, I personally think a lot of lecturers, I think it's very easy to tell the difference between the lecturers who are in it to teach you and the lecturers who are in it to have their research funded. So there is a lot of lecturers there who will just ignore your emails and stuff. Really annoying and infuriating, especially if you're like in the middle of a mental breakdown and you're like, I need the answer to this question. That was me during my dissertation. I could probably talk about the actual course. My course, I did physical geography. In first year doesn't count, and you spend most of first year just kind of getting used to the whole system because it's completely different to school. You go from being given homework and told exactly what to do to everything's very independent based. You have to learn to reference, that's nothing I've ever done before. Essays are not, like, you don't write essays from stuff you've been provided with. You have to do the reading and the research to form your essays. It's all done off your own back. So it's a very different way of learning and teaching, being in a classroom and having that one-on-one interaction with a teacher, to go into a lecture room with about 200 other students. You're not going to get that interaction that you had before with your learning, so I think that is quite a big jump, and a lot of people do find it difficult. Anyway, then I'm going to move on to accommodation. So there's two kind of types of accommodation in Liverpool. You've got the on-campus accommodation, you've got the off-campus accommodation. I think now Greenbank is the only off-campus accommodation, and then you've got Crown Place, Melville Grove, Tudor Close and Philharmonic Court and Vine Court on campus. I think Tudor Close is just for study abroad students though, so I don't think that's a first year accommodation, but the other four are. I personally was in Philharmonic Court. I absolutely loved it. The rooms were so nice, they were big, you got en suite, like you had a nice desk area, the kitchens were nice, sofas, TV, like it had everything you needed. My personal experience of it was so social, like a lot of the people I went out with were like from my floor, from my block, from other blocks. There's normally a big group chat for like the accommodation, so that's a good way to meet other people from different flats. It's not cheap, but I don't think I think the cheapest accommodation you can get is in Crown Place. Well, it was when I went. But even that isn't particularly cheap. The student halls are a lot more expensive than student houses that you live in second and third year. So, like, whilst it is expensive for the first year, you can definitely get such cheaper alternatives second and third year. Oh, another thing about accommodation, something that is kind of annoying, is there is people called RAs in all the student halls. I mean, yes, they're good, like, they're people that you can talk to if you have any problems, but they also come and like shut down any like prees and stuff after 11 PM. You're not allowed to make noise, so if you make noise they will come in and they will tell you to leave. When there's occasions where you want to be getting to sleep so you can revise, or you have an exam the next day, you know that it's going to be quiet after 11 PM, because I'm not being funny, like the sound travels in halls really easily. Like you can hear stuff that's happening above, below, in another block. Like as soon as if one person cracks a window open and they're playing music, like everyone can hear. Having the RAs, you know that by 11 PM it's going to be silent and you're going to be able to get your sleep. However, when you are having prees and you want to go out, it is sometimes a little bit annoying, but like at the same time it's not that deep, because then you just go out in town and it's fine. You can, noise complaints. So if you have a lot of noise complaints, which is when the RAs come in and like shut down your prees and stuff, and you can have a meeting with the warden. Our flat had a meeting with the warden. That was fun. It was in like the first week of being there, and they were like,
"You've had 3 noise complaints. That's not acceptable."
And then he was like, "Well, basically, we're putting this fine on hold, but if you're loud again, then you've got a fine for being loud and all the fines from before." I think it was always just like an empty threat though. Like I don't think they were ever going to fine us. I don't know, that could be not true, but maybe they were going to fine us, who knows, but we never got fined, so. I did also want to touch on accommodation wise. Whilst there are a number of halls of residence offered by the university, there's a lot of private halls as well. I think it might be X1 Lettings is a massive one where they have quite a few private halls across the city. So if you're in a situation where you've been, because for the accommodation process You choose 3 accommodation options that you'd want, and they try and give you one of your 3 options. You don't always get one of your 3 options, so in the occasion that if you don't get offered an accommodation you want, if you want to be on campus and you've been offered Greenbank halls, then do have a look at the private halls, because most of the private halls they split up students through year groups. So you'll be in a flat with first year students, you'll be on a floor probably with first year students. I know quite a few people who went through private halls instead of uni of halls, and whilst most of them aren't as new, I don't think, as the uni of halls, they still made friends, enjoyed it. You were in the city, a lot of them are like more central. So definitely look into that as an option if you don't get given the accommodation you want. But yeah, and then finally, just want to quickly touch on 2nd and 3rd year accommodation. There's kind of 3 options for your 2nd and 3rd year accommodation. There is student halls in the city, private halls, or there's also an accommodation on campus. I can't remember what it's called for the life of me. You can get a student house in Kensington or a student house in Smithdown. Most people, in my experience, live in Smithdown, which is where I've lived. It's about a 15-minute bus journey out of the city centre, or I can walk to uni from my house in 24 minutes. So a walk or a bus journey. To be honest, living in Smithdown is great. I mean, it's a little bit, some may say dodgy. We have been burgled. I think a lot of people get burgled. But you have a big Asda, you have a big Aldi, there's the Brook House, which is where everyone goes. It's a proper student place to live. Most people who live there are students. And also in 2nd and 3rd year, it's nice to have that detachment from uni when uni work gets more intense. And you're like in the library more, it's nice to be able to remove yourself from campus and proper feel like you're going home instead of always just being on campus and working and stuff like that. And then Kensington is, I would say, like a 10 to 20 minute walk from uni. It's just behind North Campus, so it's more in the city centre. Kensington, you can walk into the city centre, whereas Smithdown, you can walk into the city centre. It takes about an hour. Most people in Smithdown get the bus pass. Probably one thing that annoys me most is the price of the bus pass in Liverpool. I think it is extortionate. So it's just an Arriva bus pass. I think it's like £300 for the year or something. I don't think it saves you that much money in the long term. Even if you've got a bus every day, I don't think the bus pass saves you money, which is annoying because you'd think it would be significantly cheaper than buying a bus ticket, but it just never really is. But the price of the bus pass is counteracted by how much cheaper student accommodation is. You can get stuff that's like £80–90 a week. The city nightlife, I think that's a very important topic for like freshers and first years. Liverpool is probably, in my opinion, one of the best nights out in the UK, like by far. It's cheap, the atmosphere is unbelievable, there's so many places to go, there's free entry, like it's so great. For first years, Concert Square is the place to go. Like that's where you'll find your clubs. You'll have Macauley's, Level. That is just where everything is. Most places in Concert Square are free entry as well. So normally, like on a night out, you'll find yourself going to multiple places. Like you just kind of go with the flow. It's literally a 10-minute walk from your student hall, so you don't even have to get a taxi. So most of my nights out in first year, like I could spend nothing. I might buy some chips on the way home and that was it. That is such a plus about Liverpool. Like you don't break the bank on a night out. Then along with Concert Square, the other place people go out is the Baltic Triangle. So that's where you'll have like Soul Jam and like Baltic Weekender. That's kind of like housey and kind of edgy almost. Whereas like Concert Square is kind of classic pop music. And the Baltic Triangle is such a good night out. You definitely have to do it. I mean, it's normally a little bit more expensive because they're ticketed events and you have to get a taxi there, but it's only like a 10-minute taxi. It's not far, and like taxis in Liverpool, that's another thing, aren't expensive. From my student house to the Baltic Triangle, it's about a 15-minute taxi and it will cost like £8. Just going to touch on drinking culture. I think in Liverpool there is quite a large drinking culture. I'm going to be honest with you, it is a big like nightlife city. That being said, if you are someone that doesn't like clubbing and doesn't like going out, I know people that don't really drink or don't really like nights out, and that's completely fine. And like, it's not, whilst it is a massive part of the uni, and like if you love a night out you will love Liverpool, it's not the only thing to do in Liverpool. And then the city centre of Liverpool in general, so nice. You've got L1, which is where like the main shopping centre, that's where you'll find all the like normal branded high street shops. You've got Bold Street, which is my favourite street in Liverpool. You have to go to Bold Street. Has all like the independent restaurants on, all like the best restaurants in the city. Leaf and Crust are probably my two favourites. Definitely go to Bold Street, go to Leaf, go to Crust. So good. Football, if you don't like football, you will get to love football. I'd never watched football in my life. I've never watched a football match in my life before going to uni. To be honest, it was not something I was interested in the slightest. I mean, I still wouldn't really choose to watch a football match off my own back, but it's always on, so I just happened to watch it. Liverpool won the Champions League last year. It was absolutely madness. Oh my god, they were in the Champions League final, but the year before that they probably would have won the Premier League this year, but I don't know how that is unfolding. But basically what I'm trying to say is Liverpool at the moment are a very good team, and football is in the blood of all Scousers. They live, breathe, sleep football. It's very fun to like be a part of and witness. So the campus is in the city, but it is a campus. It's split into a kind of North Campus, South Campus. So South Campus is, I think, more, well, South Campus is where the geography building is, and it's kind of more like humanities, whereas North Campus is more like sciences and medicine and dentistry. Like the clever people go up to North Campus, I'm not gonna lie. There's two libraries, the Harold Cohen and the Sidney Jones, which has my heart. I love the Sidney Jones, I'm sorry, I just do. So library facilities are so great. The libraries are open 24 hours a day, which I think is a service. I don't think every university offers that, and I think it is one of the best things about Liverpool. Granted, most people don't want to be working at 3 AM, but to not be kicked out of the library at 9 AM and being able to go to the library before like 8 AM is like a saviour, and it's so good. During exams, the libraries will get packed. You will not get a seat unless you're in the library before like 9 AM. But the uni offers a library on tour where they open up loads of other facilities around campus as library and learning space, silent study spaces to facilitate for the demand during exam periods, which is another great thing about the uni. The Guild is in the centre of the campus. It is the place to go for a £5 burrito. If you don't have a Guild burrito in your time at Liverpool, then you haven't lived, you've done it wrong. The Guild burrito is incredible. I wish I discovered it sooner than I did. The food at the Guild is great, it's cheap, it's delicious. You've got the Sphinx, which is the Guild pub. They do the best raspberry mojitos. Oh my god, and I think it's like two for £6 or something. They do a pub quiz on a Monday night, I think. So a really cool place to go. One thing with Liverpool is there's no events or like club nights ever held at the Guild, which I think is a completely wasted opportunity, because the Guild's the centre of campus. It's kind of where everyone comes together, yet they don't seem to throw any events or have anything held there apart from concerts and bongos, bingo. Like, I know a lot of unis, they have like nights out. You go to like the Guild or the student, student union. So I know a lot of other unis, they have a lot of nights at the student union. That's kind of the place to go, whereas in Liverpool you don't go out to the Guild. That's not somewhere you go. There's nothing there. But then that being said, because there's so much on offer in the city, do they really need the Guild? Probably not. The uni gym, I personally think is quite a reasonable price. If you're thinking about joining the gym, join during Freshers Week, and they always have a Freshers Week discount where it's cheaper for your annual membership. So definitely, if you're looking at joining the gym at uni, sort that out in Freshers Week because you'll get it cheaper. There is a careers office, and there's always a lot of careers events on. If something that's important to you is the employability and getting a grad job, so much on offer at the careers event. They can do like fake interviews and they always have loads of advice to give, and there's loads of careers events always. I have personally never been to one because getting a grad job was never something I was interested in. Maybe I should have gone to one, a bit late for that now. And then finally, study abroad. One of the main things I love about Liverpool is they actually offer a semester abroad where you can just study abroad for 1 semester in your second year, which means you don't add any time onto your degree. A lot of unis who do study abroad, you have to go for the whole year, which means you have then a 4-year degree, whereas Liverpool you do just 1 semester. You can go New Zealand, Australia, Canada, America, literally Europe, everywhere. Like, there's so many choices of where you can go. It's dependent on your course as to where you can go, but most courses have such a broad range. And then Liverpool also offer a year in China, which you can do before your 3rd year or after your 3rd year. So that adds a year onto your course, but it's marked on a pass or fail basis, so you don't get a classification from that year, you just have to pass it, so you just have to get 40%, and you do like Chinese studies, and that's on their Chinese campus in Suzhou. So I can't say it. I'm going to insert the name of where it is in China. So there is 2 kind of study abroad options, semester abroad or year in China. That's basically all I have to say. I feel that's going to be a long video, but I hope it's helped some of you out there who are looking to go to Liverpool. If you're starting in September, the best of luck, have the best time. The 3 years will fly by like no other. It's the best city, it's a great uni, and you will just love it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more quality content.